Hiya guys, it's Tom and welcome back to another Train Sim TV video. In today's video we're going to be having a look at the new Northern Lines version 2. Now it's not a review of course because it's a creation for myself as part of the OTS group. Basically what we're going to be doing is just taking you for a run and just showing you all the new bits and pieces that we have put into the route, along with as well the new scenery. What we're going to do is I'm going to try and hopefully it works the way I want it to. We're going to do a run with the HST down to Preston and sort of like splice off when we get to Polton and do a bit of footage on the Burnays section, bring the train down, and then we're going to get on again from Polton onwards down to Preston, just to continue the run. Now the route was released on the Tuesday, just gone. I'm going to get my calendar up here because I can't remember what date I released it on. It was Tuesday the 9th of June 2020. You can get the route from On Track Simulation. It's in the description below. If you have downloaded the previous version of the route, which was version 1, there is instructions on there. It is recommended that you do remove the old version, although they are actually the same route ID. It's just safe to do a fresh install. I found there's a couple of people that have had a couple of issues. It worked with a fresh installation. Other people it's worked straight away, but to make sure it works straight away, if you just follow that readme, it'll walk you through everything. Now we are at Blackpool North. We're on a Class 43 HST, and we're going to do I think it's a non-stop run. I can't actually quite remember. I'm just going to double check. It is a non-stop run. So we're in the cab. Welcome aboard, driver, and today you are in charge of 1 Alpha 65. This service is bound for the capital, and you have been rostered to drive the first section to Preston Platform 4. This is a non-stop run until you reach Preston. Please open your doors and depart no earlier than 14:49 PM. Right, so we'll get our doors open. We'll get ourselves set up, so we need some of them on, I think. Yep. Marker lights on, take them off, and put them on. We're going to go to the rear cab. I'm going to put the train supply on, which is that one. Always do it from the rear cab. Right, so I think we are all set. So, I'm just going to quickly pause. Now, what do you get with the new version? Well, you get a new range of custom assets. First of all, being one of these, which is Blackpool North. We have now finally got rid of the lofts that were in place for the platform. We have now got a new custom model. It's sort of the same one from Northern Lines Electric, where it has the same building itself. The canopies, I think, were the same, but the difference is that the track alignment on the old version of the route was a lot more curved, and obviously I had extra platforms. The new modern layout is a lot more straightened up and less platforms. So we have 8 platforms on this version, whereas on the new version on Northern Lines Electric there is 6 platforms. Other things that you do see here being Blackpool number 2 signal box. So this is one of 3 new custom boxes that have been created for the route. This one, Blackpool number 1, which is a bit further up the line, and Carlton box. The rest were already in. The other ones were Polton, Kirkham and Solwick. So Callum Green, as part of the On Track Simulation team, has created these fantastic signal boxes, and obviously the platforms as well, which you see. Other changes, a couple of platforms have changed. Polton, that has now got the Northern Lines Electric platform in, as it follows the same track alignment, and as does Solwick. So them are 2 actually new customs that have been moved over to this route as well, just so we have a bit of a nicer appearance there. Original scenarios have been edited to use a lot more better products out there, like the APEPs and other reskins that have come along since the original pack. On top of that, you get, I think it's another 13 scenarios, including a train spotting sort of rail fan type scenario at Preston, and the extra bonus being there's another 3.5 miles of scenery, which is the Burnays branch, which takes you from Polton all the way north up to Burnays ICI Chemical Plant. I think it's about 3.5 miles between Polton and the chemical plant, there's quite a few scenarios that sort of match in with that route as well. So there's a batch from Blackpool, and there's a batch that run up to the Burnays ICI plant, which is a mixture of actual rail tours and freight workings. The main scenario focus for this pack was around the 1990s to 2000s period, so there's a lot of local haul stuff on top, which brings extra fun to the route. So yeah, that is it basically in a nutshell of what you get in the pack. Now, we are not due off here for a couple of minutes, so what we're going to do is we'll watch the service come in, which is a Class 150 222 in the Regional Railways livery there, in the Greater Manchester Regional Railways scheme there. Route map as well. We have got the signal, we're not due off till 49, don't forget. So the new scenery is this section up here from Poulton on the single line section to the chemical plant at ICI. Scenery runs again to the same place as it did before, which is at Skewbridge. Nothing further from there at the moment. Make sure we get some clag on this, don't we? I think it's actually fully set. It is. Annoyingly, the sun's on the wrong side, really, but I want to do a thumbnail where it has the whole... I'll do it. So we do only have about a minute or so. Before we depart. So this is the first release as well for on-track simulation. First of many which we have upcoming hopefully over the course of the year from on my side of things. Of course, we've got the Harrogate Loop extension coming, hopefully Cumbrian Coast later on. We're going to be doing some more stuff with that coming up soon, along with the next coming up Dev Diary also, which is due very soon. A lot of work has been done since the last one, so there'll be quite a lot to cover on that. About 30 seconds or so till we leave here now. Right, we should get the RA in a moment. We have got the signals, we've got the road, and there we go. The doors are just closing up now. And there's the buzzer from the guard. Oh, that's the wrong button. I can't remember what the buzzer is. There it is. It's C. Rightio, let's get ourselves going. We'll definitely do it from here. So as we snake our way through the station throat of Blackpool North, and head our way towards Preston. Again, we can see a Blackpool number 2 box on the left hand side standing proud. Sadly today the box does not exist. It got ripped down, I think it was 2017 at the end of the year, before the major overhaul began for the overhead wiring. I was lucky enough I managed to get down to the station for the last service to leave before it all ended as we once knew it. After that, boxes started getting ripped down quite close after that. I'm just going to move up to Blackpool North number 2. So this is our next new custom box, which again stands proud. This went actually, I think, around the early 2000s, this box. This went quite early on, really. I'm just going to pause for a second to show you this one. It's even got the authentic Blackpool FC graffiti, which was actually sprayed onto the left-hand side there, as you can see. I always remember, because I'm from the area, of course. I'm from Fleetwood, which is just up the road. I always used to remember driving, well, not myself driving at that age, but when I was in my parents' car, like my dad, always coming down this way. I always used to remember always having to try and like peer over the to see if there's anything coming over the bridge. And you always remember seeing the signal box there, and then always used to come under here, look out the rear windows for as far as you could see down this road until the line went outside. We could always see the back of the box. I always remember that. It was one of the things I used to do. So we are able to put some power on now. It's not my normal choice of weather either for a scenario and a video. I like this scenario. I remember doing this. This scenario I made quite a while ago, well before the route itself was coming into its proper life of its second phase. Yeah, it was the first scenario I made for the second version, really. It was the first older era scenario I made when I first got me my old timetables. Started buying some timetables for the area. So it's one of the first ones I made. We're just coming towards Leighton. No changes have been made at Leighton since V1. Other than the new trees, we use the VP tree pack. I mean, you can't really see them much at the minute, but when we cut over to the Burnays section, it will be on the summer weather setting, so we actually see the full scenery that's been done there. I mean, this section is, of course, hasn't really much changed apart from the new trees, and we know what the VP trees look like, but on the Burnays section we will show you properly what's been done. This is just so we can purely get a 43 fresh as well on this section. I'm just going to do another quick pause because we are coming up to our next signal box. The sun's really, really bright. It could be a bit OTT on the audio enhancer, to be honest there. So, Carlton box. Again, a signal box that now does no longer exist. This was another one that got ripped down for the overhead wiring. Today it is now controlled by, I think, the Manchester Signalling Centre. Hasn't gone. Oh, there's a bit of dodginess going on there. We'll just sort of gloss over that. I will be fixing that because I have got an update coming for a few minor bits and pieces very soon. Just gloss that over. You haven't seen that. It's clearly I didn't see it either. So we're heading towards Polton-le-Fylde. So we'll see the new the platforms that have been put in there from the Northern Line Electric section. What we're going to sort of do in a minute is somewhere around here it'll transition to the Burnays section, then you will join me again somewhere around the Polton area. You now join me back in time, back to 1989. We are now on the Burnays branch for a short little look at this section. Now we're going to drive between Burnays and Polton, and then we'll cut back into the HST scenes to continue the video. So first of all, before we get moving, I'm going to take you for a little look around the Burnays area, which is the ICI Terminal, which you can see before you're there. Not much of this area remains. The line's still here, still to this day. It's not used. The last services ran down here in 1999, towards the back end of 99, I believe. A lot of the buildings around here have gone. I mean, I think this is all gone now. There's still little bits of this left, but not much of it's left now. I do remember when the tower went. I do remember when that happened. Mainly what's left is sort of everything around this area. The warehouse and stuff, which are all over in this direction. The majority of this lot is sort of all gone and disappeared over time, around the 2000s. If you look on Google Maps, you can do the little clock where you can go through the years of time, and you can see as you get closer and closer to 2020, you can just see it as it disappears and there's not much left. That was actually quite beneficial, that we could go back in time with Google Earth, so we could actually see where buildings were, because with Google Overlay on Train Sim it is just not possible. So it was a massively beneficial and a huge help to getting this as close as possible to how it once looked. Going back to where we were saying before, the VP trees, they're in, but the only thing is we haven't used the grass at the minute, but that will come at a later stage. The line itself also had some other stuff over here, some other fueling areas. These were all severed off, and you can see where bits of track were taken out in places, split off, obviously been used elsewhere. A lot of the point where it went, the track sort of ends here, as you can see there. There's a little stop board stopping you from going anywhere. The line continues down here a little bit further. There is a walkway here as well. I walked down here the other week. This now is a big walkway. We parked up here, and you walk down what is now a huge forested walkway. And you do come out at this path here, which is really cool to actually see the track for its for what's left of it. Quite overgrown, but a lot of it has been tidied up and that by a volunteer group that have taken ownership of the route. The line, not much seems to see here really. It's just ends. It actually does end here with a bridge that has been filled in. The line did used to continue to Fleetwood, which was the former Fleetwood line. Took you to the docks up there. The reason for doing this section of the route mainly is because it's my hometown of Fleetwood. I live literally about 5-10 minutes up the road from here, so it's nice to actually do a route which is really close to my house, although it doesn't operate anymore, which is a shame. I wish I'd actually seen it in operation, even though I was around at the time of when there was still stuff working. I just wasn't aware of that in my earlier younger days, sadly. I do wish I was around to see some of the stuff. So we'll get into our 47. We've got some tankers which are bound for Lindsay Oil Refinery. We're going to take this as far as Polton Signal Box. I'll just take you through the process of how the line operates. So I'm just going to make sure actually we do have the load actually. There we go. We can go. The line itself is 20 miles per hour throughout. On this section between Burnays and the box at Polton. All sorts of different locos work this branch over the time. 37s, 20s, 56s, 47s, 25s, 40s. Of course it was steam operated as well back in its day, before closing to passenger traffic. I think it was in the beaching period when it all closed off to the passengers, but obviously the freight operation side continued to run till 99. So we come up to our first disused station on the Northern Lines, which is Burnays. As you can see, 2 platforms. Obviously only one line, the other line did get lifted. You can see the walkways are still there, but they're just fenced off. You can't actually get onto the platforms, as they are actually fenced off in real life now. And on the other side there as well. So we're going to be travelling now towards Hillylade level crossing. The level crossings on this route you do have to adhere to and stop, apart from I think it's called Tarn crossing, which is after the Victoria Road level crossing, which is just a foot crossing. It does have gates, but you don't actually have to stop at that one. Trains could go through there. So what would happen here is there would be a second man on the train, as far as I'm aware. They would get off, open the barriers, or activate the barriers, or open the gates. The next one, it's gates. The gates will already be closed, as they're just static items on this route. But what the second man would do, we would shut the gates off the traffic crossing, allow the train to pass over, close the gates, get back on the train, and off they would go down to the next section. As well, we have Red Marsh Industrial Estate on the right hand side of us, with the ICI area to the left still. This area is still used today. There's a very well-known plastics manufacturer on there. It's called Vitrex as well. They do all sorts of polymer stuff. There's all set of catch points here. I do believe there was a signal box somewhere around this location as well. There was a lot more track work here as well back in its day. If you look on old track maps and stuff like that, you can actually see just the extent of what this line once was. As we progress to Polton as well, there used to be 3 stations at Polton as well. There used to be a load of different junctions. It's just amazing how busy this line once was. So you can see the board coming up on the left hand side which says stop. It's a stop and whistle before proceeding. There is markers placed at each level crossing so that you can actually operate your own scenarios correctly to do the procedure, at least sort of improvise it. This one, just watch the bar go across before we set off. Clear to proceed. The only thing that hasn't been simulated is obviously where you'll stop at the other side and allow the second man to get on. We will just continue. But there's some form of simulation at least in there. So we're coming up to the next disused platform, which is Thornton for Cleveland. Quite a long platform, this one. Originally it did have a canopy on it as well, many years ago when it was in passenger service. So this level crossing is a gated one. A barriered crossing. So the second man will get off here and activate the plunger, which will send the barriers going down before proceeding. Used to be a signal box here as well many years ago. That went, I think, in the 70s. You can still see as well in a second. You can see the walls where obviously the canopy once was attached to. You can also see in a minute the old base. I've left the base on there, at least where the signal box once stood. Bit of a traffic jam. Never seen a crossing that busy before. Wow. See about the time in the distance there. So we are now clear to proceed. It's a very overgrown line. It was before it started getting cleared up. Thornton Cleveland's platform back there, Victoria Road, is really nicely done up now by the volunteer team that are working on the route. This is Tarn Crossing. I think it's called Tarn Crossing. It's the name that sticks in my head. Story is that the guy that lives in this house, I think he still lives there apparently, and he used to hate it when the locos used to blast the road for this crossing here. He used to always complain, I believe. Let's just make a racket going past his house. Couple of seagulls on the bridge there. My little scene for this section. Watching the trains go by. We're now sort of entering to the outskirts of Polton. So as we travel down this section, in that direction, so the line used to actually take off and continue on that tree line down there. They used to join on at the curve just over there in the distance, which you can just see where the scene's just loaded all back in. That used to head that way. There used to be a station here as well. This was where one of the stations were. There should be a level crossing that. Have a fly back over here. This curve here was another line that went off and went towards Blackpool. Of course, Polton over there. It's quite a slow pace route this, but it opens up the freight workings that once ran on the line. It was quite a busy line really back in its day. A lot of local hauled workings. So we have the green up there. We have actually got the road to cross over. Towards the end of its working life, this line, all services actually continued rather than crossing over to the left. They would then cross over a little bit further down, as this line ended up being rather overgrown. So we're just approaching the box now at Polton. We will be stopping here, handing over the token, and then we will cut back through to our HST and continue down to Preston. Again, you can get this section on the new version of the route. As you can see as well, the other crossover is just coming into view now, which is where all services used towards the end of the working life of the line. So we have Pult Box number 3 there as well. So we're going to cut over back to our HST scene now, and we'll catch you there in a moment. So as we leave Polton Le Fylde, we then head over towards Kirkham. So we go through Singleton and Wheaton, and then we have Kirkham. Kirkham itself as well hasn't changed at all, really, bar the tree revamp. One thing with these trees is they look fantastic in the winter, much better than the DTG spheres, I like to call them, or the balloons. You get to see a lot more in the branches on these as well, which they make the winter scenes a lot more better. Speed limit at the minute is 70 miles per hour. Opens up to 75 beyond Kirkham. So we're just crossing Singleton Bank at the moment. There once was a signal box on this section as well, somewhere around this region. Went, I think, in the late 90s possibly. I'll put some brakes on. We haven't got a single yellow, which is I think that's the repeater actually as well. No, it's not. Next signal's about a mile up, which we'll need to keep our eye on. We're now heading towards Wheaton. Wheaton Barracks is over in the direction sort of over there, just beyond the hill. Just trying to sight the signal, I can't quite see it at the minute. I think it's somewhere behind these trees. Oh, and it is green. So we can put some power back on there. I think the thing for me with this scenario is just that when the light catches the side of it in the winter, with the winter sun. Just coming under the M55 motorway, which takes you from Blackpool to Preston, where it joins the M6. The motorway itself does follow some of the former Blackpool Central Line, and the Blackpool Central Line would actually have come in on the right hand side quite shortly, and would have gone over a flyover as well, which we will see some of the original retaining walls very shortly on the left hand side for that. We'll be going to the fast lines in a moment as well. So coming up on our right hand side is where the Blackpool Central Line would have come in originally. It would have then sort of veered off to the right, climbed up a bit of banking, would have crossed over the top of our line that we are currently travelling down, and then it would then drop back down and join us where the signal box stands at the junction, and also the Blackpool South Line joins in as well quite shortly. Currently still has no scenery, but that will change down the line in the future. I do have the aims and plans to do that section. Currently my sort of work order is, whilst Lewis is doing the Harrogate extension, I'm going to be finishing off the section between Green Road and Millham to get the Cumbrian Coast version 1 out, and then after that my aim is to come on to do the South Line. I aim to do the South Line on Northern Lines Electric and then merge the scenery over onto this moving forward then, as this will eventually have the VP grass added to it. I just didn't have time to put that on it on this version, but that will come down at a later date. So we've just come to Kirkham now. We've just gone past the box on the left there. We are now passing where Fox's Biscuits is on the left hand side of this factory here. One of my favourite little sites as well in current days is on the other side of that fence there for spotting. There's some good pictures there. We do have a green, which is good, and we will be dropping down to 30 mile an hour in a moment. Kirkham and the Wesham station is coming up now on the centre there. Again, this station has changed dramatically over the last couple of years for the electrification, with a new platform being added and the fast lines now taken out. Love how they call them the fast lines, but it's like 40 down to a 30. It's a lot more faster now at 75 miles per hour. There's another good place to go for shots is here. As they cross over the top there on the banking. Next up, we're going to be going through Solwick in about a mile or so, which is the island platform. Beyond there will be the Solwick signal box, which was originally in Northern Line's version 1. The only difference is now is that the platform is from Northern Line's Electric, which gets rid of the lofting platforms, which is a bit messy and a little bit hard to sometimes get lined up, especially with the curvature of the track there on one of the lines. They don't always match up, you can't always marry them up properly. We are on the 75-mile-an-hour section as well now, and do ignore the weather there. So now we're just approaching Solwick, which again is on the centre of the two lines. So first of all, there's a little bit of disused platform into the small section that is now used only by a couple of trains a day. And on the left hand side we have Solwick box. I'll try and get a nice little screenshot with that. One of my favourite locations as well to do screenshots is at Solwick. We've got another couple of miles to go, about 3 or so, I think 4 actually, 4.5. Till we get to Preston. Platform 4 is where we're going to be calling it on this run. We've just gone over Darkinson Lane goes over the top of us just on that bridge we've just gone past. Lear Town is where we are now going through as well. There used to be a platform here as well, around this bridge area many years ago. There used to be 4 tracks down here as well, a long time ago, back in its heyday of steam. I'll apply a little bit of brake because we are going to be slowing down quite shortly. In the distance you can now see St Walburg's Church, which dominates the scene as we approach into Preston at Fyle Junction. The Preston Docks is just sort of over there in the distance as well, with the Ribble Steam Railway is, which is included with the route. That was included with version 1 of the route as well, so it's not an existing. It's an existing feature, not a new added section. If anyone does wish to have a little run around there, well, we have a green as well, which is good. Got a single yellow. We are clear into the platform, which notes on the theatre there, number 4. It's 25 as we cross over. And we are now arriving at Preston. Again, Preston has had no work done to it really. There's not really much changed, other than the tree work and bushes in the area. Long-term plan is to have something done with Preston to bring it up to standards with the route, with a custom asset. Just unfortunately at the minute we haven't got the time. Or are we allowed to go out and do any research, of course, with current conditions. Going to a big station like this just to go and take some photos is just simply not doable. We hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. We are now arriving at Preston, which is our last stop on this run, which is our only stop on this run. Don't forget, you can download the route from On-Track Simulation, which is in the description below. You can also leave us any feedback. If there's anything you might be having issues with or anything like that with the route, do drop us a line. We will get back to you as soon as we can, either on our comments on here, or you can get in touch with the support system on OTS as well. So we will get back to you there if there's any issues. We'll do our very best to help you there. Don't forget, you can catch us on Twitch. Twitch.tv/TrainSimTV_Tom or TrainSimTV_Mark. Thank you very, very much. I hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll catch you on the next video, and take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now, guys.